I wanted to ask you, based on what you were talking about earlier, it sounds like you want your artists or the producers that you're working with to send you files that are basically wet, like with all like effects, like how they had it, like in their rough mix, or do you ask for things dry? Because it sounds like you want things kind of to be already on the way.
It for producers that are doing their own production mixing, absolutely, because they're good producers, they're good engineers. It doesn't make any sense to receive it dry and then me try to recreate it. That's not what the job is. They've already gotten the sound that they want. They just now need it to be cleaned up and be presentable to the public. And so in that case, yes, but I need like options. And I need the accessibility. So for instance, like wet stems, I don't necessarily want your reverb on the vocals. You can send me separated like effects return stems. That way I have control to re-level. Because that's the biggest part, obviously, too, is having the right amount of control of what you need so that you can get to the desired results of the mix. However, I also deal with sessions that come in with Pro Tools and sometimes you'll bypass their stuff or be like, yeah, this bus is not that great. We could, reroute this. But if the sound's already there, like I'm not trying to go backwards. I want to work from where you left off, basically.
Yeah, right. So you're often getting Pro Tools sessions and just taking them over the finish line.
It's right. It's a combination of stems and Pro Tools sessions. And a lot of times the stems, I will get wet and dry options. And I do use a combination of wet and dry. So I always value having, like I said, the accessibility and those options to have complete control.
So you ask for both if you can, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
correct.
that makes sense.
I think with vocals, for sure.
Especially for vocals, right?
Especially for vocals. Instruments, I'm not really, I don't want to cross the fingers. Nobody I'm working with is like, ruining the instrumental mix. A lot of times it's the vocals that people have a problem with. Right. Producers typically, their stuff sounds fine. It just now needs to be mixed with the vocals correctly. So I can get instruments wet exactly how the producer wants it. Then vocals can be processed and then an option that's dry.
Yeah. Yeah, the vocals are, also as we mentioned earlier, vocals are the king and queen of the song. So you gotta make it work, and how you affect the vocal affects so much. So sometimes better to leave that for the mixing engineer versus, maybe the snare drum, we could just leave whatever verb was put on there.